Good afternoon, people. A couple things I want to share with you. Um, First things first. It's been an interesting day, to say the least. It's been an interesting day. Um, Spent the weekend in Fairbanks, Alaska, and of course, it's spring everywhere else, but here it's still warming back up to what is considered normal winters for everyone else. Meaning, when it's really cold, like it is in Alaska, it does not snow. But when it warms up, it snows. So we are in the process of thawing out, where we're no longer below zero, but the higher we climb in temperature, the more it snows. So in the last 48 hours or so, it's probably dumped a good 3 or 4 feet of snow. And of course, I drive a sedan, so it's been a whole thing getting back all the way up from Fairbanks. It's only an hour drive, but for a sedan on unplowed roads, it was highly controversial. Highly controversial. Imagine this. Imagine this. You're going uphill into the mountains. Um, you're flooring it. This is what kills me about traction control, modern day traction control. I'm flooring it in my sedan. You hear the engine doing the best it can, just all out effort, and I'm going 12 miles an hour. It's the freakiest thing. I wish it on no one. Do not come to Alaska without all-wheel drive, at least. Four-wheel drive is a whole thing, but all-wheel drive necessary for most vehicles up here. And we'll get into that later because I really want to admonish the older recruits. It's been a while since I spoke to the people, and but yeah, it's been an interesting morning. Yeah, but gladly and gratefully, thankful to God, I made it safely in one piece. Didn't get stuck on the way here. I got stuck leaving my hotel, which is a whole nother. Ah, I'm so ready to leave Alaska. You hear me? I am ready to get back to the lower 48 where winters are normal. Snowfall is normal. The temperatures are somewhat normal. Yeah. So there's that whole debacle with Raymond versus Alaska. And of course, I'm still losing. But, we're still treading some water and, we're live. We're live. So, yeah, I want to talk about a couple things this afternoon, rather. Five things, 5 topics that an older recruit must address, upon and while during, their Air Force career. A couple things that you must keep in mind as an older recruit. I would say these things are quite common in nature in terms of these are just simple, logical areas of your life that you need to be addressing continuously. But of course, common sense is not common, and therefore we must seek wisdom. Those of us who are taking L's currently in the military. I'm only 28. But certain things come with time. I would never say that wisdom comes with time, but I would say experience comes with time. Experience is very, in some ways, inefficient in terms of learning. Do I read a book or do I go experience it myself? Well, it depends on what it is. If it's a DUI, read the book on it. But if it's building a bicycle, go try it. Worst case scenario, you learn along the way. It takes you a little bit longer, but at least you have more experience along the way to actually look back on and say, I messed this up. This is why I know this has to be this way. So I need this screw. I need all the wheels for the bike to function properly. So a couple things I want to talk about. Number one, relearning to study. And this is in no particular order, but this one kind of is because of the attempt to get into the military requires testing. The ASVAB, of course. I believe I posted a video on the issues with passing the ASVAB. I think I still need to edit that. Either way, relearning how to study is crucial. A lot of people get caught up in so much, they see the ASVAB and they say, all right, I must pass the ASVAB. Cool. Step number one, I have to get my foot in the door. So the ASVAB is number one. And they forget that the ASVAB is the first of many tests that you're going to take throughout your career. It's just the first. Before you even get out of basic training, there's an end of course test When you get to tech school, it's a series of block tests that you must pass. Some courses in tech school, such as, let's say you're doing like something that requires Sec Plus, so you might have 6 months of courses, which might be, who knows, 10 different blocks of courses with 10 different block tests. And then upon graduating your course load, such as, you pass all 10 blocks of tech school, you still have to pass what is called Sec Plus. A lot of people get to Sec Plus, which again is just another test, but a lot of people get all the way through their course load, 6 months worth, get to Sec Plus and fail that. What does that mean? You get reclassed. That means they don't care about the last 6 months you just went through. You're going to start over in a different career field because of that one test. It's unfortunate. But you see it happen over and over again. I saw it all the time in tech school where someone would get all the way through. Same thing with being a linguist or air traffic controller. You get all the way through and then I get to the last block and fail it. You get another chance to test for it, fail it. All right, reclass. All that time lost. All those credits lost. All that experience that you just gained lost. Testing. You get at tech school, you get to first base. What's the first thing they hand you? In most career fields, a stack of CDCs. It's just a stack of paper of what you just learned in tech school. You're just going over it again. And you're going to have a test, typically on each volume or each chapter. It really depends on the career field, but another thing you got to test on. Then you go from that, possibly go for BTZ. What's BTZ? You're going to get questioned, which is just another test in front of, 4 or 5 chiefs? Except the test is not multiple choice. It's, hey, answer this question. And it's going to be based on whether or not you studied current events, you studied the little brown book, you studied your career field, you studied the military as a whole. Do you test for staff? Do you test for tech sergeant? It doesn't end. You go to ALS, which is, upon making staff sergeant, you go to ALS, which is just Airman Leadership School. And to get out of that, there's a test. Testing is endless. So just realize the value of learning how you retain information. I know a lot of older recruits, and of course, I would define older recruit, and this is relative, of course. I would define a recruit as typically 24 and up. But of course, this applies to anyone who just has life experience. You don't need to be 30, 35, 40 to be an older recruit. You could be 18, or 21. You lived on your own for the last 2 or 3 years. You have life experience. And so either way, this applies to most humans. This information applies to most humans. I typically join the Air Force. So yeah, learning how to study, learning how you personally retain information. You might need repetition. I think most people, when it comes to studying, they need to hear something a couple times. Some people hear it once, and that's plenty. I've met, I think, a couple people in tech school like that, where it's just, it clicks with them. That's not everyone. So if you need repetition, get repetition. If you need to see it in front of you, if you need to write your notes out, if you need to type your notes out, if you need to hear it, if you need to record, certain conversations or certain teachings or certain study guides or certain whatever you need to do, that's your job to figure out. And ASVAB is a great place to start. The first test. But of course, before you get to all these other series of tests and you get deep in the water, you need to have a history of, at least at the very minimum, if I have a test placed in front of me, or if I have a test placed down the road, I know how to prepare for that properly. Meaning it should be peaceful. You should show up on the day of testing and be at peace, knowing all my efforts leading up to this were quality. You may not need quantity, but as long as you have quality efforts, there should not be a ton of anxiety in terms of, like, some people say they're bad test takers. Cool, it's fine. But did you prepare properly? Did you prepare? So that's number one. I know a lot of us have been out of school for a good minute. You probably didn't want to go to college. You might just went straight to a trade school, or went into a family business. That's cool. It's perfect. But at some point, you're gonna have to address how your brain retains information, how your mind retains information. It does it already. Your mind retains information already. It just may not be intentional. It might just be passive. So you might read signs and just remember that sign the rest of your life, and you don't know why you remember it, but it could have been the color of that sign that just stuck in your mind. Or it might be that you're watching a show, it made you laugh, and because you connected emotionally to it, you will not forget it. That's for you. That's for you to remember. Number two, probably the number one reason people get injured in tech school is the lack of flexibility. The lack of flexibility. There is a ton of Air Force recruits, military recruits in general, that are coming to the military who are more fit than I am, who is currently in the military. You probably can't see me on the bench. You might not be able to see me in the squat rack. You might not be able to see me on the deadlift platform, or in the pull-up bars, whatever. But overall, definitely in regards to running, you probably run laps around me. Honestly, you probably just, Isaiah, what you doing, bro? Mind your business. Mind your business, bro. Let me do what I'm doing. But yeah, fitness. A lot of people don't see fitness as the stretching that should occur before and after it. And by no means am I a physical therapist. By no means am I a yoga instructor, Pilates, anything of that nature. I just see cause and effect, or correlation. Correlation. You see people getting injured, and you realize, what is the purpose of stretching? What is the purpose of elongating certain ligaments, if you will? And if you look at certain injuries, especially in certain parts of the body, such as the leg or the groin, or in regards to just certain regions of the body, you can see how the lack of stretching correlates to that injury, and how it possibly could have prevented it. Possibly, potentially. And that's the point of wisdom. That's the point of wisdom, is to preserve you, is to elongate your period of success, longevity. A lot of people don't think about longevity. A lot of people just think, if I can just do 50 push-ups, 1,000 push-ups, million squats, 10 hours of planks consecutively, I will be Captain America, Wonder Woman. I will be him. But they don't think, at some point, LeBron James starts degrading. At some point, Zion Williamson has to prepare to keep jumping like that at 285 pounds. Giannis, at some point, he's going to slow down. And he can't just drive to the paint every single play. The point being is that you can be on 10 physically, in terms of strength, in terms of speed, agility, the ability to change directions, momentum, acceleration, all these different, factors as it relates to, physics. But when it comes to longevity, you can't do any of that if your ankle is twisted. If you're pulling hip flexors, you're pulling a groin. It comes down to the simple preparation. And a lot of people overlook stretching. Just simple stretching. Older recruits, no matter how strong you are, no matter how far and how fast you can run, you need to stretch. Trust me, because it probably won't be the running in the morning that gets you for PT. It probably won't be the pyramid push-ups. Probably won't be the sit-ups. What it will be is the stairs. It's going to be that one fall. It's going to be walking, in the gravel rocks, and your ankle twists. It's going to be picking up, your issued uniforms and pulling something in your lower back. It's going to be sleeping wrong on your neck. And over time, over the span of 2 weeks of basic training and however long your tech school is, that's not an environment to get injured. Trust me on that. There's something called med hold. And med hold is, especially in basic training, med hold is basic training, except the clock's not moving. So whatever injury you have, let's say it's due to lack of stretching. You pull something in your groin. So you're struggling watching. You definitely can't march. You can barely walk. You're in basic training. You're still getting credit as far as you're present in basic training, but the clock is not moving. The clock stopped at whatever week you got injured in. So you're same rules. You're still gonna wake up and make your bed. You're still gonna wake up. I don't know all the different rules. I've never been in med hole, but I've heard stories. You're probably not gonna have your cell phone. You're probably not gonna have a TV. No, you're just gonna be sitting in a room, probably reading books or something, possibly, and probably cleaning or something. Who knows? The point is, you don't want to experience that. You don't want to experience basic training without the clock moving. The point of basic training, the point of training environment in general, is to get through it. It's to train, learn, accomplish, and get through it. Get out. Go. You're done. Now go actually execute what you just learned. So it's simple. And a lot of people might hear it and say, you don't have to explain all that. Stretching, I got it. Whatever. No, I'll take a yoga class. But stretching is imperative in terms of longevity. Longevity is something I restarted doing recently because the basketball courts opened up at Allison Air Force Base. So on Saturdays, I go down and hoop. And, I'm in the process of giving them buckets. But after I finished giving them buckets, I gave everybody 30 apiece. I'm like, listen, go sit down, bro. I just dropped a triple-double in your head, bro. I'm different. I walk back to the sideline, changing my shoes or whatever. I'm about to go work out, whatever. And my body's locking up. My ankles hurt. My knees hurt. My lower back hurts. You're just struggling. You're hurting. And trust me, that's not that. In terms of longevity, that is a sign that you're missing some wisdom. Something's out of order. Pain is a sign that something's out of order. Pain is a sign that you need to ask a question. Pain is a sign that something is chaotic in my body. I must address it because it won't go away. It doesn't go away. The effects of not stretching, it does not go away. It accrues and it meets you somewhere down the line where you may not be prepared for it. It may be inconvenient when it does catch you and say, remember back in, the DEP program when you was doing all this weightlifting and you were running 10 miles a day and you were doing all this stuff, you didn't stretch. It's going to catch you second week of basic training. Now you're in med hold. Your class has gone on. Your class is in third, fourth, fifth week. You're still in second week. And you'll sit there until you heal. Not till you think you're ready, not till you can think you can power through it, but until you heal. And a doctor decides, all right, now you're good, go back to training. That could be 8 weeks, that could be 10 weeks, who knows? So take that to heart. Take 5 minutes before and after. Take 5 minutes and simply stretch. Pull up on your phone. Give me 10 stretches to do real quick. Upper body, lower body, stretch. You probably won't see. And let me say this. The effects of wisdom are not often seen. The effects of wisdom are not often seen. Sometimes the effects of wisdom are not meant to be seen. They're meant to preserve you so you don't experience the pain. You don't experience the failure. It's kind of like, matter of fact, shout out to lead attorney. Sometimes the effects of wisdom, of listening to me, watching his channel, he's a divorce attorney in Atlanta. The effects of me watching his channel, I probably won't see the effects of going through a divorce because I sought wisdom first. Let me stop and show love to the divorce attorney. Lead attorney out here showing love. Me and him been conversing back and forth over just YouTube stuff and the background logistics. It's an interesting conversation when you see someone catch fire like his channel is doing currently. It's amazing. It's amazing the path he's on right now. What we got? I don't see the Cash App in the description. I caught the general slipping. Listen, I'm working on some stuff, sir. I got you. I got you. I'm gonna throw my Snapchat in the description. If anyone wants to show love, bless your boy. Help me buy some bullets. Help me buy some gas for my F-22 for, we got things to do. But again, shout out to lead attorney. He doesn't know this, but I'm doing my best to out donate to his channel because he came the first time he came to my channel and dropped $20 on my head. And I'm competitive. And I know the value of giving. But I'm competitive still. I'm like, no, you're not going to outgive. You're not going to come to my channel and just give to me and just no. So there at some point we might, like, we add up the super chats between us going back and forth. He's going to notice that I've given to him a lot more than he's given to me, which is not the whole point. But once again, I'm grateful. Again, he's a divorce attorney in Atlanta, and he gives out game that you would have to pay thousands for normally. He's a very expensive person. 20 years of experience as a divorce attorney. He's a very expensive person. Very expensive. Hundreds and hundreds per hour just to talk to him in his capacity. So by no means should his channel be taken lightly. The information he's giving out is worth millions. You're talking about years and years of payments of whatever kind. If there's someone that's telling you, hey, watch out for this, draft this up, have two lawyers, not one. Make sure two lawyers are separate. Make sure that whatever. There's wisdom. There's wisdom. So again, shout out to the lead attorney. Uh, by the way, I'll deal with the Snapchat later. Not Snapchat. Cash App. We'll deal with that on a later time. Number three. Financial planning. Financial planning. You need cash reserves more than you need a mattress, more than you need a couch, more than you need a PS5, more than you need a 4K TV. You need cash reserves, especially when you go into basic training. Some people are caught slipping when they get orders. Oh my, lead attorney. See, this is the problem with YouTubers, is that they have no respect for the military. No, I was playing. Shout out lead attorney. This is ridiculous. Hey, what? Yeah, and I actually thought about that. I'm like, yeah, YouTubers getting like 30% of, like, we just passing money back and forth. Like, this is let's call it a draw. Let's call it a draw. And I'll just learn to say thank you and not try to be competitive with everything. But yeah, thank you for real. I do appreciate it. If anything, the gesture of giving to someone else does not get overlooked. But yeah, financial planning. When you think about it, when you're traveling across the country, when you're traveling around the world, especially in regards to the military, a lot of you don't know where you're going. A lot of you have families. You have multiple mouths to feed, and you're in transition, which, again, I don't want to get too far into my notes. But in regards to planning, what drives everything else? You must learn to ask these simple questions that kind of point you in the right direction in terms of what you need to be doing. Planning. You need money. I posted a video on this channel in regards to military minimalism, military essentialism. When it comes to, you don't need so much stuff. You need currency. You need currency. When you're driving from one duty station to the next duty station, or from your home of record to your first duty station, or from tech school to your first duty station, whatever, you're gonna need gas. There's something called a government travel card. I have one. It's basically a credit card, essentially, that you're allowed to use only in pursuit of government orders, essentially. So when I leave Alaska, I will be using my government travel card to travel. It's used to book tickets. It's used to pay for U-Hauls. It's used for gas, for food in certain cases. But a lot of you won't have that when you're leaving tech school, when you go to basic training. You probably won't have it until maybe your first deployment, maybe your first TDY, who knows? But before you even get to a credit card, cash, it still works in America. You can still buy things with $100 bill. You can still take one to a store. You know, they might try to refuse it, but that's illegal. It's illegal to refuse a $100 bill. So I really want to stress to have cash reserves. Cash reserves. I'm not going to tell you what amount, but you know how big your family is. You know how much it costs a month to feed your family. At some point, trust me, throughout your career, especially in your first couple years, you get your first duty station, and you'll be there just around a year before they can actually move you somewhere or deploy you or whatever. It'll be roughly a year upon your first duty station that they could just say, oh, tomorrow you're going there. Let go. Pack it up. You can be upset. You can cry about it. You can be, I just bought a house. I just bought a new car. I just bought this. And they're like, I just bought this 80-inch TV. Take it off the wall. You have to go over here now. And your options are what? Pack it up. Now, trust me, there are plenty of different entitlements that, I work in finance. So there are plenty of different entitlements that are available to you, such as, DLA advances and pay advances and BH advances. Cool. All that's available to you. But at the core, you should not need an advance. You should have savings. The advance is there for emergencies where, I did not see that coming. I really need that help, whatever. You have those amenities available to you because, of course, you're not the first person to PCS. You're not the first person to struggle during a PCS or during transition. So you'll have those things available to you when you need them. But at your core, you should have a foundation built of, if anything happens, I'm prepared to address it from a place of wisdom. If anything just pops up on me, I could just swipe a card and deal with it. Money solves amazing problems. Money could just solve problems. That's the purpose of money, is to create experiences and to solve problems. You can create experiences for yourself or for other people. You can create a smile for yourself. You can hop on a jet ski. You'll be smiling on a jet ski. You can put somebody else on a jet ski and let them smile. But it mostly solves problems. So when you got that credit card just waiting on you, you're tempted to use it. But when you got a debit card, you have the same amount of power. And of course, there's debates in between as far as, it's safer to use a credit card, and, it's not your money that you're spending, it's someone else's money. So if they lose their money, they're going to get your money a lot back. If somebody steals your identity, credit card money is a lot easier to replace than debit card money. So there's all these different, conversations going on. At the core of it, the foundation, you need to be ready. When you first get a basic training, you might not get a check for a month and a half. It's just the truth. There are a lot of people going to basic training every Tuesday. Hundreds of people show up to basic training in Lackland, Keesler. Every Tuesday, people popping up. And so those same people have to get, what's it called? Not a session. Yeah, assessed into the military financially, meaning we have to build their financial pay records. It takes a minute. it takes a minute. So just be mindful of these things, that you need to have a certain amount of stash that, for the size of your family, this can support me for, let's say, 3 months. Cash reserves. And of course, the economy is not the best right now. And you might be coming from an unemployed situation, and you might just need stability right now. So of course, I don't think anyone's just swimming in the cash, minus the lead attorney here. He's acting different. But of course, do the best you can. You have time to prepare. You have time to plan, do so. Because again, and this goes in probably to my next point, might as well just go ahead right into it. The biggest stressor in the military is transition. And probably the biggest bringer of peace, I'll say top two, will be knowledge, knowing what you should know, having the answers to questions, and having resources. They bring peace. If somebody sues me, but I have the money to hire a lawyer, I'm stressed this much less. Just a tad less, mainly because I know I have the ability to at least acquire a known solution that's available on the everyday market. It's not abnormal to just see solutions out there. Everything you see around you is a solution to a problem that once exists. Everything around you, everything you're looking at, your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever you're watching this on, there was once an issue there. There was once emptiness that somebody said, maybe an iPad can fix this issue. Maybe a cell phone can fix this issue. Maybe the chip inside the cell phone. Maybe the glass, the screen, the buttons. They were all problems, now made solutions. Your personal life. In most cases, money can solve the issues in your life, the problems that require money to fix. I'm not talking about anything social or emotional or spiritual. I'm talking about in your everyday physical life on this earth, money solves problems for you. Shelter problems, transportation problems, food problems, access problems, experience problems. Money is the median. Transition in the military will be some of the most abrupt events that ever happened to a human on this earth. In the beginning of the stream, I talked about, just simply driving an hour from Fairbanks back to where I'm stationed and just flooring my car down, trying to get up a hill in Alaska. doing 12 miles an hour with my accelerator floored. Just trying not to lose momentum. Just, Brett, just keep the car moving. Just keep the car moving. I wasn't prepared to deal with the climate of Alaska because I brought a sedan up here with two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. I brought a sedan. I was not prepared for the environment, and the it's definitely longer than a year. I wasn't prepared, and therefore there's some stress that came along with the transition of simply living here. But when you have resources, maybe I'll just buy a truck, just buy a Subaru, Audi, or something. And of course, those options still remain. But the point being is that transition, it in most cases, it would not wait for you to be ready for it. Deployments tend to be a surprise unless you volunteer for it. TDYs, a lot of those are competitive. A lot of people want to go to TDY or deploy, so a lot of times it's competitive. So you might have some foreknowledge, you might have some time to prepare for it, but a lot of times PCS just happens. Overseas, what? You're leaving my hometown, Texas? I just happen to get San Antonio, where I grew up, whatever, and now I'm going from San Diego to Spangalum, Germany. 90-day notification. I got to pack up my entire household. Let's say there's 2 adults, 4 kids. I'm packing up 6 people, a 3,000 square foot house, 2 cars, and we're going across the ocean. And how long? What do you think solves that problem in terms of stress? Having your money right. Having your money right. Having a clean house. Not having 10 storage lockers full of stuff. Think about it. You take your entire family across the ocean. It would help to have less stuff. Just the essential items. And of course, all the caveats. The military will move you. You probably wouldn't even move yourself. All you gotta do is you just gotta be ready to move, essentially. Our processing is probably more stressful than actually the process of moving. But hopefully you get the point. Hopefully you get the point. Being prepared for chaos is different than chaos happening to you. Acknowledging the fact that at some point chaos will occur is different than being blindsided by chaos every single time it happens to you. Getting orders the first time will teach you. You need to have context around the base. Dealing with transition. Transition is the hardest. It's the hardest part of the military. It's not being at your normal base, and I've been here for 3 years. I know most people on the base. It's leaving the base. It's picking up your family and saying, now we're going to a different part of the country. We're going to a different country. We're going to a different climate. There's culture shock. There's demographic shock. There's, geographic shock. It's transition, switching schools, getting kids registered, getting a new house, getting a new apartment, getting the cars ready to travel. That's a big one. Again, I made my mistake bringing a sedan up here. Had no business bringing a front-wheel drive sedan to Alaska. No business. There's cars smaller than mine that have all-wheel drive just going right past me. Hopefully, this probably be the most northern I've ever been and probably will ever be, because Eielson, Clear is probably it's probably third only to Thule, Greenland in terms of the most northern Air Force bases in the world. So I don't think that will be an issue so much more, but there's a chance I could come back. God forbid. God forbid they send me back up here to Alaska. Hopefully they send me to Anchorage, Joint Base Elmendorf. That's doable. It's a major city. But yeah, be prepared for transition, which means you need to have your money right. You need to have your house in order. House needs to be clean. You need to know where everything's at. Everything needs to serve a purpose that you buy. You shouldn't just be filling a house full of stuff. And obviously, it's just different with families. It's different where, you have 2 of everything for 6 people. It's a different dynamic than me when I just have a 10 by 15 square foot room and everything I own fits in 6 plastic bins. I just throw them back in my car like it's nothing. I just pack a suitcase and I'm gone. All my electronics are fit in this one plastic bin. I'm on the road. I'm gone. It's way different than packing up 6 people with different appetites and different stuff going on, and now they got to leave their friends, and they got to leave the school system, and they got homework, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So that being acknowledged, resources, especially those who you don't understand a lot of the dynamics of the military. The more money you have, the greater chance that you'll be at peace when chaos occurs. Just a thought. Just a thought. And lastly, those who are coming in with families, those who are in the debt program or in the recruiting process, who are considering the jobs to list. I made a video on the 3 variables that control the job you get in the military. Go check that out. Oh, I won't get into those again in this video. But if you need flexibility, which in most cases you will, if you have a family, you're probably going to want flexibility with your time at work and your time at home. Work-life balance will probably be the hardest thing to achieve in the military, but it's doable. It's doable. Work-life balance, being effective at work and being effective at home, being present at home. Well, desk jobs in most cases offer that kind of. The closest thing to work-life balance you will probably get in the military is a desk job. Now, admittedly, most of the jobs in the Air Force are somewhat close to a desk. A lot of the jobs in the Air Force are close to somebody's desk, somebody's chair force. Cool. I'm not ashamed of being in somebody's chair force. Air conditioning and Spotify and Wi-Fi and Starbucks, Keurigs, as far as the eye can see. I have no issue with that. Zero issue with that. My uniform is clean. I wash it once or twice a week. I'm happy with not having dirt on my uniform, and dirt under my fingernails and crawling through dirt and swamps, and got an M16 in my arm, and shoulder hurt, my back hurt, my legs hurt, my knees hurt from jumping out planes. And I prefer the lower back pain from sitting in a chair and then get a standing desk, and then now you feel rejuvenated and what have you. But if you're one of those people that's looking for the opportunity to attend PTA meetings and school functions and sports, and doctor's appointments for your child, and you want to be there for, let's say you have an anniversary coming up and you want to get off early and take your wife or your husband out, or whatever life offers outside of work. If you want an opportunity to have balance with that, a desk job offers somewhat the opportunity to achieve that. Now, I'm not saying you'll be happy with a desk job, but sometimes happiness doesn't. Sometimes you go to work because you need stability, not happiness. Sometimes you go to work to pay bills, and then your fulfillment comes from realizing your family's provided for. Sometimes you do something you don't particularly enjoy, but because your family's eating, now you're happy. And of course, the military, the Air Force, it's not a life sentence. Sometimes it's just a great stepping stone that you needed to get back on your feet financially. And then now you can go back to the civilian world, and you might have a leg up on your competition. You might have you'll have a free education now. You can probably leverage that now on the economy, on the workplace. The Air Force, the military is not a life sentence. So maybe 4 years of being unhappy in your job leads to later down the line actually getting what you want. Don't sleep on the desk job. I can hear the question. What are some desk jobs that you would suggest that I list? Think about logically, of course. Try to think about logically. What jobs typically on a Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4:30 type schedule, off on weekends, off on holidays, not mission essential, meaning if a plane needs to take off, do I need to be there? If something pops off, do I need to be at work? If COVID pops off, do I need to be at work, or can I work from a laptop at home? Ask those very simple questions. You'll probably end up with jobs like personnel, admin, finance, variations of admin working in, let's say, records or medical clearances in the med group. Certain medical jobs. A lot of medical jobs work at desks. Although you might be on your feet a large portion of the day. Who knows? Who knows? But of course, it takes some studying, it takes some research. But if you think about just those basic core jobs, I'm not telling everyone to go join those 4 career fields because a lot of you won't be able to get in those career fields. It's just simple. And it comes down to numbers as well. And of course, there's 3 variables that decide the jobs you get, not just what you need and want. There's a lot of other variables, such as the needs of the Air Force. And they say, oh, no, we need you to go scrub and go shovel and go put this wrench on this plane. And we need you to guard the plane. And we need you to go put fuel in the plane. And we need you to go scrub toilets or go fix toilets or go fix light bulbs or go build a building. So just don't forget at any point, don't forget at any point what the military is. It's volunteer, which means you don't hold leverage when you come to the military. No. So just keep those things in mind. I hope I brought a little bit of value. I do want to look at the questions and see what we have. I want to address the question that was actually brought up on the post I made, in case anything was there. We do have a couple. I know Kaylin K was first. But yeah, appreciate all 30 of you joining me this afternoon. Yeah, let's get into some of these questions though. Caitlin K asks, how did you imagine military life before you joined? She has several questions. So, but of course she was first. So, we're gonna answer all her questions, all of them. How did you imagine military life before you joined? I imagined it along the lines of being this. I was far from naive because I was raised on military bases. I was raised as an Army brat. So I saw it pretty close up. I was still naive in certain applications, mainly due to the member who was actually serving. Because of course, my whole life I was dependent. I was just on the base, getting all the benefits that my dad was actually working for. So I kind of saw it as just normal in a way. But I saw working in the Air Force as, honestly, I didn't know because I was on Army bases. So I didn't really have context of Air Force bases. But I saw my dad go to work and he came back. I didn't really know what he was doing until he got an office, and then I saw him in processing people and whatnot. He was working at a desk. But that was all the context I really had. When I chose, around 2011 and then 2012, 13, 14, whatever, and then inevitably joining in 16, I didn't really know I was walking into. I didn't have a job, picked out yet. I didn't have a job assigned to me until tech school. I still didn't know what the Air Force was. I just knew I would get a job, I would get stability financially, I would get all these different benefits, free education, and potentially the ability to travel. And that's really all I knew about the Air Force. I want to make sure I'm answering your question. So yeah, what I imagined was me getting a new car. Again, I was naive like a lot of people are when they come into the military. I was just focused on, can I get a car with a complete paint job all the way around? I just want the same color present and accounted for. All 4 wheels to look the same. I don't want no plastic hubcaps. Just give me a car that looks like it came off the lot recently. It doesn't need to be brand new or this year. I just need a car that looks like it's presentable to the world. And I achieved that pretty quickly. Got that in tech school. So yeah. Of course, my knowledge of the military now it's much more matured. This door is killing me. It's much more matured, in that it's based in reality and it's based in experience because I'm actually here now. So, what else we got? How did you transition into military life from a citizen? I made a video on this channel, just kind of referencing how abrupt the transition into the military is. It was just that. It was abrupt. It's still at times abrupt. Transition, again, I talked about that earlier. Transition, especially in different chapters of your military career, it's hard to prepare for. So a lot of times it's just abrupt and you didn't plan for it. It just happened and it is what it is. It's pretty the only way, it's kind of like the only way to answer it is just when you transition, you will know because it will be abrupt. It will be stressful sometimes. A lot of people will just kind of go smoothly into the the horizon. Some people it takes them a minute. I'm one of those people that it just takes a minute for me to adjust. Have you ever questioned why you joined in the first place when it gets rough? That question came up in basic training. Second week, I'm like, bro, what am I doing here, bro? Like, I got a better chance of going to NFL. Put me on special teams. Like, no, no. And it wasn't because basic training was hard. It was just the length. It seems endless when you're there, when you're in that environment. Like, take your cell phone, take your naps. You're sleeping on a twin size bed with 50 other men in the same room. You're showering for 90 seconds tops. Me being dorm chief, I'm getting yelled at for what other people did. I'm like, you serious? I didn't do any. They did that, man. It wasn't me, man. But it is what it is. Yeah, the question comes up, every once in a while. You ask the question, is this for me? Is this what I should be doing? Why am I here? Do I like the military? But of course, when you have good reasons for being in the military and you know where you're going with your life, now you have purpose. You have purpose, and your direction, determines everything else. Everything else. Your goal determines everything else. So that's always present. What are the lunch packs on the road like to eat? MREs. Which one is your favorite? So don't get us confused with the rest of the military, because Air Force, we only eat MREs in basic training. And unless there's like a food shortage or a power outage or something, we're not eating MREs normally or ever. I think they're always in like the commissary. You can go in there and buy MRE if you want one, but I think my favorite one was the one that came with M&Ms, I think. And trust me, there's some fire MREs. Them junks be banging. But, MRE compared to regular food. But yeah, the ones with candy is the ones that we always went for. I'm like, bro, let me get the ones with Skittles, bro. And you get them fifth week. We either trade in Skittles and M&Ms, and we try to break bread properly. So, and then what else we got? If you interview a female order recruit, can you ask what challenges they faced that male order recruits didn't, and they got the same experience and expectations from serving? I don't know how else to phrase this question. I think you phrased it pretty well. One thing I plan on doing when I transition to Canon is start doing in-person interviews. Not so much interviews, but just conversations with other people that are in the military. And yeah, just kind of getting more experiences on this channel. Not so much just my monologue, whatever, of me just talking to the camera and answering questions, but having other people in here that you guys can bounce questions off of, having different career fields, before I leave here at Clear, I'm thinking about interviewing a Space Force airmen. I don't know. I think they're called specialists or guardians up here. There's several guardians on this base who live right down the hall from me. They're fully Space Force. They got on name tapes. My boss is Space Force. My leadership, the space is Space Force. So, just provide some context, and they'll be able to give you your experience. So I might bring that to the channel. But yeah, very good questions. Hope I was able to provide some context for those. And we'll definitely get a female in here that we can hit some questions on. But what else we got? Vendetta asks, I'm also an order recruit, and I have accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. But I'm coming up to having almost 2 years left on my contract. I guess my question would be, what resources in the military would you recommend to someone trying to set themselves up for a smooth transition into civilian life? So this is someone who's already in the military, looking like they have 2 years left on the contract. That's also me. I also have 2 years left on my contract. What resources would I would suggest? I would go talk to the Airmen and Family Readiness Center. It's on every military base, the Airmen Family Readiness Center, and just bring those same type of questions to them, because you're going to go to them anyway. They probably already try to get in contact with you, because that's their job, is to help transition people to the military. They have a briefing, and they have a series of briefings. I think it's like 2 hours long and then a week long, and then it's a lot of stuff that you have to do with them before you're able to out-process the military anyway. But try to be proactive with that process and go bring them questions and say, listen, I'm trying to go to the Guard. I'm trying to go to reserves. I'm trying to stay still affiliated with the military, but I want to go do this. I want to do this transition program into a different job. There's something called the Skill Bridge program, and definitely take notes on this Skill Bridge program. And it can be approved for up to 180 days of your last, a lot of people take terminal leave, but you could use in place of that or in conjunction with terminal leave, Skill Bridge program, which is basically you can go intern anywhere while still being technically still active duty military. You're still getting checks, still getting all your entitlements, but you're still working. You're working somewhere else to get that experience, and then hopefully walk into that job upon your separation from the military. Great program. Definitely look it up. Definitely run it by the Airman Family Readiness Center, and hopefully they'll be able to help you with that the application and all the different variables that are accounted for, and then eventually you'll run up on finance, and we'll help out process you, get you a separation pack and what have you. But yeah, good questions. Good questions. And then we'll look at the live chat in a second. Just make sure we didn't miss anybody. Cool. Cool. Let's look at this live chat. See who's in here. Once again, thank you to everyone for the super chats. I'm definitely grateful. I'm definitely grateful. We got Sam Manners in here. Just got to his first base at Nellis. I see you. I'll be in Vegas soon enough. Probably this year. Well, definitely this year. I'll be in Vegas at some point. Follow me on IG or Snap. We trying to link up at some point because I do a lot of traveling, but I'll be doing way more traveling once I get back to lower 48. I'll be all over the place. So, Abraham asks, how much of an impact will BMT have on the rest of your Air Force career? Is it something like honor grad and dorm chief worth it? Is something like honor grad and dorm chief worth it? Long term, they're worth nothing. Not nothing, but they don't follow you past probably your second or third year in the military. In terms of impact, they're valuable teaching lessons. Let's say dorm chief. I was dorm chief in basic training, and of course, it taught you leadership very early. And of course, a lot of principles I was able to kind of leverage while I was in the position. But when you get to your first base and they ask you about your experiences in basic training and tech school, and you say, I was dorm chief, nobody's gonna like get excited. Oh my God, who was this leader of men and women? Who is this person? Like it's not that deep. It's just a position that was in that environment that was necessary. Honor grad definitely will follow you. It's something that you should be proud of because again, top 10% of any group should be proud. I mean, it's something I aimed for once I heard about it. I'm like, what? There's a chance to get an award, to be different, to stand out. And that does follow you only in the form of a ribbon. You get a ribbon that you can't get anywhere else. Marksman, you can get that down the line. You guarantee the other ribbon. But the honor grad ribbon, you get that one time in your career, and that's in basic training. And of course, you see it when people are wearing it. Especially those who get it. You look for it in other people and like, did you get that honor grad ribbon? Did you get it? And of course, I have videos on this channel of how to get honor grad. So go check that out. But yeah, honor grad will stay with you in the form of a ribbon. Dorm chief pretty much dies in basic training. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't get caught up in positions like ropes and tech schools. You're welcome to do those things. Like I'm not saying don't do those things. I'm saying those also don't follow you through the rest of your career. If you're a red rope, in tech school, and then you get to your first duty station, you're like, y'all know I was a red rope, bruh. People will laugh at you and call you names. So yeah, just be mindful of those things. Yeah, hope that helps. Jay Jusota asked, and I apologize if I messed that up. In the military, they say your reputation starts in BMT. Yes, it definitely does. One thing I want to press upon anyone who's watching is that the Air Force, the military, is a very small environment. It's like 1% of the U.S. population. It's a very small environment. The people you meet in basic training, you're going to see them again at some point. Tech school, you're going to meet them. You're going to need them at some point. You're going to see them again at some point in your career. Your first duty station, the people that you first get, your feet wet in the military with, you're going to see those same people again somewhere else, but you're going to need them later on in your career. You're going to have questions. You're going to need, access. And those people will be there because they're a form of family. They're a form of family. And the military as a whole is a form of a family. When you're in the airport, you see a certain haircut, you are military. You see certain camouflage patterns. Air Force. You see PT pants in the wrong place. What are you doing wearing PT pants at the mall? Like you see certain color socks, and you just immediately know Why do you have ABU socks on at the mall? It, certain things that you will immediately latch onto. But in regards to your question, reputation, definitely. Um, guard it, guard it. Three things that you want to monitor: first impressions, reputation, and lasting impression. First impression, reputation, and lasting impression. Those three things determine your name and how much weight it carries, if any. When the name Isaiah drops, I want that to be a name of honor. I don't need everyone to like me, but at least at the bare minimum, I don't want a ton of baggage attached to it. I don't want dirt attached to it. I do my best every single day to just be a good person, be kind, to follow the rules as best I can, and of course, establish relationships with people. I'm not out here trying to hurt people. I'm not out here trying to, take from people. No, just do my part and establish relationships. Relationships are what matter at the end of the day. Anyway, so yeah, reputation does start in BMT, but it continues through the form of reputation and lasting impression. Focus on those other two just as much as you focus on the first impression. They all three matter. Hope that helps. Logan JJ asks or says, I'm 36 and I'm going through a divorce after 12 years with 2 kids. I figured out I'll just join the Air Force to give my life more meaning. Your vids have really helped me in my decision making when it comes to joining. Thank you. Logan, I appreciate you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. At no point do I take lightly the fact that, there's a potential for me to have impact on someone's life and to be positive in nature. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'm just hoping that, this new path, breeds fruit and, you have to recover and move on and, you and your children can still interact because the military is a different animal, especially in regards to, having custody or not having custody. It's a different animal. You should definitely go check the lead attorney's channel. Yeah, definitely go check him out. But yeah, thank you. Thank you again. Devin says taking care of your body is so important. Facts. Facts. Halligan Gaming says I was stuck in med hold for a month after BMT due to blood test results. Goodness. So this brother or sister added extra month to basic training. Yeah, that's different. That's different. That's the last thing you need. So yeah, for those of you watching, just be mindful of those things. Prescription, certain, seeds. I don't want to get into all that, but like certain drugs that you ain't got no business messing with, or certain drugs that seem suspect, certain oils that seem suspect. Google it. But yeah, the last thing you need is some suspect, tracing popping up on a P test or whatever. P test is one of the first things you'll do at basic training. So just be mindful of those type of things. Yeah, that's you don't want an extra month in tech school or basic training. You don't want any extra time in a training environment. It's unnecessary. But thank you for sharing, man. RPG Spell says it really sucks if you sprain your ankle randomly. It can happen to anyone. Facts. The best thing you can do is prepare your body for chaos. That's the best thing you can do is prepare your body to go out into the world and deal with all these different factors that plan themselves. Pain plans itself. All these major events that, we see pop on the news, no one was ready for it. It was breaking news. Just found out. The story's breaking. No, it's never, the story has been in the making for 20 years, unless it was, whatever. My mind just takes off with trying to account for every single variable and analogy. I'm like, bro, just let stuff go, bro. Let it go. Anyway, yeah, pain plans itself. So the best thing you do is try to prepare your body and put your body in the best position to handle chaos when it happens. So yeah, that's a good point. Oh my God. Who else we got in here? attorney throwing bills at. I said, hey, listen, I'm out here ducking. Lead attorney said, get that stream deck. Facts. We'll make some upgrades. Definitely when we get to Canon, get this PCS accomplished. Definitely make some upgrades. You guys will all see it. What else we got? Almighty Moreland says, my friends think I'll regret joining the military at 25 besides not signing a 4-year contract. Is there anything else you regret about enlisting? Not really. Knowing what I know about the military, there wouldn't be much of anything that I would change about my enlistment. As you already mentioned, the 4-year contract over the 6-year contract. I would change maybe a couple things on my wish list in terms of the places I want to be stationed, but not much else. Definitely the jobs that I listed. Okay, so that's one thing. The jobs I listed would definitely be something that I would address from a knowledge standpoint that I have now. But of course, you can't do it at the moment if you don't know. So, no. In regards to your friends, of course, you didn't ask for my opinion, but I'm going to offer it for anyone else who's interested in my opinion. Be careful what your friends are offering to you in forms of opinions. It may or may not be valuable, but yeah, just make sure you're approaching opinions from a knowledge standpoint, realizing you have to live your life, not them. And so, of course, they may love you, they may care about you, have your best interests in heart. Realize that at the end of the day, you're going to be doing what your life requires. So, if you're working at McDonald's right now and your friends say, "Nah, just stay here with us," and you realize, bro, I'm tired of flipping burgers, bro. I got a family at home. I can't support my family on these burgers anymore. Do what's necessary for you and yours. Because at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do in pursuit of their own happiness. So make sure you're doing the same. And yeah, unless you're friends with the military, I'm not sure how they can tell you that you're going to regret something. Yeah, no. So yeah, just be mindful of those things. Josita says, it's better to join the military when you're younger. I would be inclined to agree. Younger is relative. So a 48-year-old is younger than someone who's 49. So again, this quote does apply to most people, if not all of them. But what I kind of hear you trying to say is that if you're really younger, like if you're straight out of high school, it'll be easier to assimilate to the military environment. And it's arguable. But again, I would be inclined to agree or disagree, because I feel like older recruits kind of know why they're coming here, not just a freshly graduated high schooler who's just kind of bored or needs to pick a direction and didn't really know what they want to do, but they just decided to go to the military for whatever reason. A lot of older recruits tend to know why they're coming here. They know, I need to address this one issue in my life, and the military offers that solution. I need an education. I don't want to pay for my education. I want to go in debt for my education. The military they'll pay for it. Cool. So, agree and disagree. That makes sense. Fatima Jenkins asks, what is the difference between Air Guard and active duty? I work at a post office and I'm deciding which one should I choose to join. Air Guard the difference is simply the time of commitment is really the only difference. There are a bunch of other minute variables that go into it, but essentially it's going to be the time of commitment. Active duty, you're on call 24/7, 365. That's it. It doesn't matter what you're doing, where you're at, you can be called in to work. Air Guard, it really just depends on the contract you're currently on or the orders that you're currently on. You have AGR in the Guard, which is active Guard reserve. Like, you are active duty, but you're in the Guard. So all that really means is you have a full-time job in the Guard. Active duty, we all have full-time jobs. Like tomorrow, I go to work. It's normal. Monday through Friday, I go to work. Unless it's a weekend or a holiday or it's just a day off, I'm going to work. Unless I'm on leave, I'm going to work. AGR is the closest thing to active duty military. Is you're in the Guard, but you have a full-time job in the Guard. And then beyond that, you have traditional Guardsmen. They work a couple days a month. They pretty much just go in to keep their skills refreshed, check some boxes, and then they're going back to civilian world. And then, of course, there's all these other different variations. But yeah, those are the basic differences. Is just the time of commitment to the military. Is the Guard tends to be closest, is closer to part-time, and then active duty is just full-time. you are owned by the government. Hope that helps. A Pearl Cat. I always wanted to join, but I have pre-existing chronic condition, and I hear I won't get through. You hear, or you tried and you didn't get through. Just be careful that you check the box of trying. It's one thing to have chronic condition, and you probably know that you probably won't get through it. Um, Neither am I saying go seek out rejection, but there's gonna be part of your mind that's gonna wonder, what if I could have got through? What if there was a waiver? What if? Remove that what if by trying. The cure to what if anxiety is trying something. So yeah, give it a stab. Go talk to a recruiter. If they say no, they say no. But just realize this, that most of the world is successful and they're not in the military. Most of them. 99% of the world cannot and does not join the military. 1% of the world joins the Air Force. Or actually, it's not even the world. 1% of Americans join the Air Force. And it's not like everyone is not trying. Like, it's probably the hardest branch to get into. Space Force doesn't even have a pipeline into the Air Force, or into the Space Force. You can't just walk into the Space Force. The Air Force is a very difficult branch to get into. So just realize you're not alone in terms of people that couldn't or did not join the military. But if you want to try to join the military, try it. Try it. And if you get told no, then you can move on and say, all right, I tried, I checked the box, and now you can actually close that chapter of your life and move on to something bigger and better. So hope that helps. Be encouraged, though. Be encouraged. Jordan Branch asks, which would you do to become an officer? Number one, get a degree first, or two, finish the degree in the Air Force. I have 2 years left. If I were trying to become a officer in the Air Force, let's say I was civilian as hell, just civilian is all get out. Woke up one day, 18 years old, and said, you know what? I just graduated high school yesterday, and I want to join the Air Force as an officer. The route I would probably take would be, if I was capable of doing so, the Air Force Academy, ROTC, one of those two. One of those two. I'll do my best to go through one of the programs that is built for younger people or those who have the ambition already set to become an officer, to go that route. OTS is for people that find out later that they want to go officer. Joining the commission ranks while you're enlisted, it's for people that find out later that they want to do it, or they just didn't know about it, or whatever reason. OTS is for those people that are they went one route and decided to detour. But if you're going to the academy first of all, it's highly prestigious to go to the academy, the Air Force Academy, and then ROTC is just a different route as well. So yeah, that's my answer. What I would choose, I'll probably go to academy if it feels up to me. If it was what I was doing, 18 years old, I would go to the academy. But yeah, hope that helps. Daryl Kirby says he's going to MEPS on Wednesday. He's nervous. Yeah, I see you. Finally passed the ASVAB. I see you, Ray. I see you. Congrats. Yeah, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. MEPS is gonna do what they're gonna do, and you gotta do what you gotta do. Let the process take place. Their job is to try to disqualify you. It's your job to make it hard for them to disqualify, if not impossible. Meaning you're not answering a ton of questions. You're not running your mouth. You're answering direct questions, but you're using as little words as possible. Just being direct, yes or no. That's it. You're not giving away free information. You're talking to your recruiter. You go to MEPS and you follow his or her instructions at MEPS. So yeah, don't be nervous. Just play the game, and don't give away free information. Don't do it. What else we got? Terrell Bridget asks, how long does it take to get housing? I don't know. I've never lived in on-base housing as it relates to dependent housing or what have you. Really just depends on the base, depends on the pace and population and how many people, the vacancies and what have you. There's no set answer for that, unfortunately. Kirby, let me know when you pass MEPS. Tag me in your swearing picture, bro. This is a good question right here. Bro, why when I turn 20, I feel like my life is slipping away? Yo, trust me, man. It's always the young people, like that objectively young people who are in a rush. It's funny, but it's not funny. Um, it's always the objectively young people that feel like they should be somewhere else. And it's people like me who would love to rewind the tape 8 years. Not without the knowledge I have now. Like take the same knowledge I have now, but put me 8 years earlier. JD, you are fine. You're fine. Relax. Relax. I know the pressure that you're referring to, but realize that pressure is artificial. That pressure comes from outside sources, external sources. I would assume, I would jump to conclusions. I would assume that the pressure that you're probably experiencing is most likely coming from social media. It may not be. May not be. You might just live in the heart of Beverly Hills and see other people, acting different. But most likely, in a lot of cases, especially in regards to this community of people that's probably currently watching me, also including myself, a lot of the pressure that we put on ourselves comes from places that we have no business getting pressure from. We're looking at fake information, edited information, filtered information, wrong information. Looking at social media profiles, Instagram models, Instagram, ninjas running around. I got this car, I lift this much weight in the gym. I got this much money. I'm this successful. Listen to all these songs. I got 10 bags, bro. Got the duffel bag in the corner. You see me? Got that thing in plastic. Got my safe over there overflowing. I got old girl at the crib. And we think, all right, so they're 20. Just signed this new contract in the NBA. Signed this endorsement. What am I doing at 20? I'm trying to get a job at McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. Going to the mall to apply for jobs now. Might join the military. Let's watch some Isaiah videos. All that pressure that you're putting on yourself, where's that coming from? Think about the fact that you could live another 80 years. 80 at 20 years old. Relax. Relax. You don't need all the answers at 20. You need wisdom at 20. Notice that wisdom and answers aren't the same. Wisdom assumes that you don't have the answers. You don't need all the answers, nor will you have all the answers at 20 years of age. If you still live with your parents, relax. Relax. The only advice I would give to you is seek wisdom. At 20 years old, seek wisdom. People think that you have to be old to be wise. No. There's some dumb old people. Who do you think is falling for all these scams? It's old people. For whatever reason. There's no age requirement for wisdom. You must pursue it, though, because it doesn't come naturally. It doesn't come by default. It doesn't come with age. Wisdom is a choice to pursue truth. Truth. Objective, absolute, universal truth. Meaning it might contradict your own opinions, but yet it's still true. It might hurt your feelings, but yet it's still true. You should be seeking what is true. 20 years old, relax. Take the pressure off yourself. It's something I had to address with my own therapist. Relax, Ray. You're E5. You've been in 4 years. 4 years. Relax. You should not know the same as a tech sergeant. You should not know the same. Of course, I want to know as much as a tech sergeant knows, but I can't know as much as a tech sergeant knows. It takes 21 years to become 21 years old. Some things just take time. At 20 years old, you should be establishing a foundation of picking a direction. You might not have all the specifics. You might not have all the answers, but simply starting with the fact that I'm not going to make any major mistakes. Start there. That's a great place to start. What is illegal in this world? Become curious. What's illegal? I'm not doing any of those things. At 20 years old, I'm not making any major mistakes. I'm going to be curious about the world. I'm going to study the world. I'm going to study knowledge. I'm going to study wisdom. I'm going to become curious about all the different disciplines and different areas of study and all the different animals and species and kinds. And I'm going to ask some questions, and some simple questions, some complex questions. And I'm going to study philosophy and theology and philosophy and cosmology. And I'm going to become curious about the world I live in. No major mistakes, curiosity. At some point, trust me on this. At some point, you're going to go into discovery of yourself. Those two combined, of having a clean bill of health, a clean slate, no criminal history. You should be in the gym, touching weights. As a human, doesn't matter your gender. As a human, you should be in the gym. As a human, you should be studying. You should be curious. As a human, you should be avoiding what's illegal, what's immoral. That's part of your discovery. That's part of your study, is to discover what's immoral, what's unethical, whatever the prefix is. But yeah, relax. This is your time of learning. There's a term called anti-fragility. And it references seeking out experiences that do not hurt you at all. They benefit you. They help you to grow. It's like curling a weight versus hitting yourself in the head with the weight. One of those things are beneficial. Find the experiences that offer you beneficial growth and seek those out. Find a mentor. Probably the best advice I can give anyone 20 years old. Find a mentor. Find someone who's further ahead than you and has wisdom, not just knowledge. Knowledge is just knowing stuff, just knowing facts. Wisdom is application of facts, the avoidance of certain facts. Wisdom. Find someone who has wisdom and learn. Ask questions. By no means is a mentor always free. A lot of times it costs time. It costs money. Sometimes you need access to this person. But find a mentor. Not a guru, not somebody who just, spits random and vague information at you. And, maybe the world is at your footsteps and you just got to try your hardest and be the best you that you can be. And just, that's all true, but it's kind of vague. You need somebody that can give you instructions on, all right, tomorrow you're going to do this. You're going to wake up at this time. You're going to do the following. From this time to this time, you're going to do the following. You need to study this. I'm going to hit you back up and I'm going to ask you a question. You should have an answer to that. It might not be right or wrong, but you need to have an answer to that question. And then you're going to operate off that question. You're going to do, because instructions, obedience leads to a reward. That's the best advice I can give a 20-year-old. Just relax. Relax. You have 80 years ahead of you. You have 80 years ahead of you to discover. Not to make mistakes. I don't know where the concept of, as I go on, I'm just going to make mistakes and learn. No, because some mistakes are fatal. Some mistakes are immediately fatal. Some mistakes get you life in prison. No parole. You're done. Some mistakes, there's no recovery. And it's all downhill from there. You made the one mistake that just ruined everything else. Yes, there's grace and mercy. And, we should all be operating it from that place of giving others grace, saying, I forgive you. You're imperfect. You're human. You tried, you failed, you messed that up, you lied, you deceived. You shouldn't have did that. You hurt someone else. But we should all start from a place of grace and mercy, not cancellation. Because one day it's going to come for you. One day. So yeah, go in pursuit of discovery of what exists in this world. There's a lot to offer. This world has a lot to offer. And at 20 years old, you're at the beginning of the race. Beginning of the race. Hope that helps, JD. Hope that helps. Relax. Relax. What else we got? Mr. Hernandez is 34 and joining. I see you. I see you. Kirby's 30 and joining. I see you. Jordan Branch, 25 and joining. I see you. Y'all out here. Nunez, 36, thinking about joining. Age just a number hanging there, guys. I see you. It'll be the old recruits popping up. What else we got? Hernandez says, Pastor was in the Army and he told me that one should have enough money to cover at least 3 months of bill. That's facts. That's facts. I think we got a super chat somewhere. Rblaze 5000, appreciate you. Also a member of the channel. Much love. Mark Rowland said he crossed. Who? Don't be saying that name on this chat. How do you get comfortable with being by yourself, like when you move to a new city or state and it's just you? Let me address the first part of this question because I find extreme, and I take personal and extreme offense to the following. Mark Rowland ain't crossed nobody, and this better not be Mark. This better not be Mark. Mark ain't crossed nobody. I've never been crossed in my life ever. I haven't been hesied. I ain't been Pop-Tarts. I ain't been nothing. Nothing. Nobody's done. It doesn't happen. You understand? Anyway, shout out Mark. Shout out Mark. Mark keep talking trash, and I'm gonna go back through my Google Photos and pull up some footage that he dare not want to see light of day because I document my life. But anyway, back to your question: how do you get uncomfortable with being by yourself? Like when you move to a new city or a state and it's just you. Some things are not meant to be. Some things you should not be comfortable with. Humans are social creatures. I'm not saying be up under everyone around you. You should not be just constantly trying to be up under someone. Just being in a large group of people. Maybe that's not what you should be doing. But at some point, what you're alluding to is contrast. What you're alluding to is contrast. Is meaning at this time I'm with people and now I'm alone. That's what gives being alone value. Introverts can't truly be introverts unless at some point they're around people. The term loud assumes soft exists. Normal exists. Meaning you've exceeded what is typically acceptable. So being alone, you get to a new city, you probably be by yourself, but you'll probably be surrounded by people. Those are all humans that you can interact with for free. Just, hey, I exist. you just engage. Obviously, it's not that simple. Obviously, I think I made a video about it. A practical exercise is saying yes. You enter a new environment, enter a new base, a new city, new state, new country, new region, new continent. Say yes. You get invited somewhere. Say yes. You asked a question and it has an underlying invitation. Say yes. If you hear something's going on, and go. The friends you're looking for, the network you're looking for, the support system you're looking for, probably exists outside of your comfort zone. It's probably outside of your house. Definitely outside of your bed, your couch. The comfort that you're looking for in regards to being by yourself is gonna be a result of you being around other people and realizing you're different. You're unique. The value I bring to YouTube is because of my difference, not my similarities. People don't come to this channel because I have a Sony A6400. Thousands of people do. Oh, he's similar. He has a candle like the other channel that has a candle. He's similar, so that's why I watch him. No, they come here because I'm different than the other channel. They subscribe because I'm different than the other channel. It's your difference that separates you. It's your similarities that causes you to have friends. Friends are friends because they're similar. They have similar interests. They have at least one common interest. But your assignment on this earth, your difference, is what gets you paid. The problem you solve is typically based off your difference. I'm talking to a camera right now because my mind is different than the average person. And the way I reverse engineer a goal into daily steps and hourly steps, my mind is different. That's what gets me paid. So, hope that helps. Start with saying yes. Saying yes is going to make you address pride, arrogance. It's going to make you address doing things you don't want to do, laziness. It's going to make you address barriers such as race, such as interests. You know, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. I don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons. They're playing spades. I don't want to play spades. They're playing basketball. I don't want to play basketball. Go anyway. I'm not saying that you'll enjoy it, but it's an exercise. That's really the point, is that a lot of the social issues that we have, it comes from a foundation of we don't know how to do something that is different than what we want to do or normally do. We want to stay in our box. We want to stay in our room. I want to stay right here in this room. And everyone on this base come knock on my door and say, what do you want to do? And how can we help you do what you want to do when you want to do it and where you want to do it and at the pace and the frequency that you want to do it? What do you want from this? From how can we give to you? Tell us what you want to eat and we'll bring the food to your mouth, and you don't leave your bed. You don't do anything to change. We will accommodate you. The world will accommodate you. That's not how that works. The second you say, I'm going to put self aside and say, I'm going to ask them a question. I'm going to ask them about their background. I'm going to take interest in them. You realize the world opens up so much quicker. So much quicker. So, yeah, you have some homework. I also want to take a second and say thank you for being a member of the channel. Thank you. And also thank you for being, for the super chat. I'm grateful. Thank you. And tell Mark to hush his mouth, because that's unacceptable talk to a person of my stature. I'm different out here. What else we got? We got 33 people watching. Appreciate y'all being here. Head Huncho asks, do you recommend people join the armed forces without a purpose? It depends on how you define purpose. Words need to be defined in order for the sentence to have value. Words need to be defined properly for the sentence to have any meaning. So, the way I define purpose is whatever you're doing now. Another definition would be the design, in most cases, tells you what the purpose of that object is. Good example. This is the cap to my candle. If you look closely at the design of this cap, it fits there. The design tells me where this fits. It also gives me a clue of what it might do if it did fit. It will suffocate the candle. The combustion process cannot take place with that cap there. Your design tells you what your function is. A hammer out of place is violating its design. If you use a hammer to operate in surgery, that's what you call a violation of purpose. Sin is violation of purpose. The human is not meant to do certain things. When a human kills another human, that's violation of purpose. You were not designed, you were not placed on this earth to kill other human beings. You're meant to kill chickens and fry them up and break bread upon their person. So purpose is whatever you're doing currently, because your mind is very malleable. Your mind is very capable. Your mind can do just about whatever it desires to do. Your mind can do it within certain bounds, because we don't have freedom. We have liberty. We have the ability to choose within certain boundaries. And the second we go outside those boundaries, we realize what's illegal, immoral, unethical. So we have liberty, not freedom, because freedom is without constraint. Without constraint. You can't just say whatever you want to do. Go into an airport and say whatever you want. You will realize the consequences. Go into the Pentagon and say whatever you want. Go on a military base. Go into a classroom. Go into a college. Go on the news. Go in front of anybody's cell phone. Go on Twitter and say whatever you want and find out the consequences. Come on YouTube. Go on Twitch and say whatever you want and find out the consequences. We have liberty, not freedom. That being said, back to your question. Do you recommend people join the armed forces without a purpose? I will say this. I recommend people join the armed forces because, well, first of all, if you join the military will be your purpose while you're in the military. Now, your vision for your life can be different. Your ultimate goal, your long-term goal, your end goal can be different than what you're currently doing, which is what your purpose actually is currently. Whatever you're doing now is what your purpose is. The purpose of me being an airman, finance technician, resource advisor, NCO, staff sergeant, is to do what I'm supposed to be doing. At least while I'm on the clock. That's my job. Whatever you're getting paid to do is your purpose. The purpose of a pilot is what? To fly the plane safely, efficiently, effectively. That's the purpose of a pilot. At no point do you see a pilot trying to play basketball. You're like, bro, what are you doing? You're violating your purpose. Take your hat off, get off the court, take them shoes off, go back to the plane, bro. So your purpose in the armed forces will be to serve in the armed forces. If you don't have a vision, and this is what I kind of think you're asking, I don't want to get caught up in words and semantics and what have you. But if you don't have a vision for your life, you don't have an end goal, that's something you need to discover quickly. You're welcome to change your mind at any point. It's not a life sentence that once you establish something, you have to stick with it. But it's something that everyone should have in place at some point, that you should be going in pursuit of. My end goal is out here. I want to be a doctor or, a scientist or, a musician. Cool. That's your end goal. Your means to getting there can be just about anything. The armed forces can be a means to getting to your end goal. My purpose right now, as it relates to my end goal, is to be in the Air Force. And then my next season will be to go to college once I get out, to do this, whatever. And then my next season, and then my end goal will be achieved at this point, hopefully. Plans change, life happens, what have you. But yeah, joining the military is a great starting point. It gives you a lot of resources to begin your life, especially with those who have a clean slate, especially JD, 20 years old. It's a great place to start in terms of you get all these different benefits, including a free education, that now you can take that back to the civilian world and leverage it against everyone else who may have to pay out of pocket or go into debt to get what you got for free. Hope that helps. A few more questions. Lowe's B asks, is joining the military the same as getting a regular job, far as pay? No. No, it is not. Most jobs don't accommodate for the economy, cost of living, the region you live in, the state you live in, and in most cases, the country you live in. You live in America versus you live in Costa Rica. The economies are greatly different, diverse, almost opposites. It's completely different economy. This country, America, has multiple companies valued at over $1 trillion. Find me a country that can beat us halfway. Find me the Apple equivalent in other countries. You might have to go to China and look at Huawei. You have certain brands that kind of try to match us and try to compete with us, but America is leading in just about every industry. Just about. Especially in regards to technology. It's not even close. You look at our Silicon Valley, find the equivalent of Silicon Valley in any other country. Good luck. So, as regards to getting a regular job, military is one of the few jobs you can walk in and have 30 days paid leave just because you're in the uniform. Good luck finding that any other job. 2.5 days a month that you get because you're in the military, because you weren't on leave, you weren't, in prison or something. You're accruing 2.5 days per month of paid leave. You have some companies that you got to work 5-10 years to get 3 weeks of paid leave. Sick leave. Half the time we don't even have sick leave. We just have, all right, go home. Because we're on salary. We're on contract. So they say, oh, you sick? Go home. Something called quarters, where you go to the hospital to verify you're sick. They say, all right, he's sick. Go home. And you can't leave your house. It's slightly different, but I personally love quarters because especially if you're actually sick, you actually want that time to sleep and rest and recover. And you can't be called back to work. No, like you got orders from a major or a lieutenant colonel, and they say, all right, you have strep. I'm assigning you on 72-hour quarters. And they sign a document and they fill out the paperwork, and you go home. You're not supposed to leave your house for 72 hours unless you're doing something in relation to that sickness, such as going to a pharmacy or what have you. You get the point. But the benefit of that is that your supervisor cannot call you back to work if you're on quarters. You're on quarters. But again, find the equivalent of that in the civilian world, where if you're sick, you cannot be called back to work, and you must remain and you must rest. You must take a nap. Have your soup, I say. It's different. It's different. The military has a benefits package that you will struggle to find anywhere else that's not mid-tier. You haven't been in a company for 10 years plus before you get something like that. Management level, at least. The military has amazing resources package, benefits package. We have lawyers and retainer that I can go talk to tomorrow, and just say, let me ask you a question, paralegal. Tell me about that, right? They work in the same industry as I do. We're peers. I can go talk to the cops, the military cops. They're right down the street. They're right there. They guard where I live. You have access to anything you need. A psychiatrist, a doctor, mental health technician, a therapist, a nutritionist, a physical therapist, a lawyer, paralegal, judge. All of it is in the same community. You have direct access to it literally by emailing, calling, walking into the office. We have our own banks, finance. We have our own medical industry. We have our own cops. The military is a beast. It's a beast of resources, and once you network properly, when you know someone in just about every career field, that's invaluable itself. Especially when you're in the military, you actually plan on probably doing some long-term, years in the military. It becomes an invaluable network of having someone everywhere that you know. So, there's a lot of career fields out there in the civilian world that make way more money than we do. A lot of them, a lot, if not most. If not most, there's a lot of career fields in the civilian world that just look down and, bro, you make how much? You broke bastard. It is what it is. But during COVID, you see who's stable. Who doesn't worry about a check on first 15? And of course, it's not all money. Like sometimes you do want more money than stability. Sometimes you want the ability to climb higher and higher. You don't just want that level of stability. But some people want security. Some people want stability. So military is different. Military is definitely different. You compare an entry-level job at McDonald's to an entry-level job in the military, you see two different types of people, two different levels of income, two different tax brackets. It's definitely different. So Definitely learn to see the military as different. Like it's not really anything that compares directly to the military in the civilian world. So just be mindful of those type of things. Hope that helps. Goodwin Balo asks, what happened when you fell at tech school? I got reclassed. That reclass process took roughly about 4 months total. A lot longer than I thought it would take. I thought it would be like, all right, next week, all right, go down the hall. You start there, sign this paperwork. We're gonna have your new job, whatever. It took about 4 months, and during that 4 months, I was on CQ. I was sitting at a desk, waiting. If I was on day CQ, it was a 12-hour shift. If I was on night CQ, it was a 12-hour shift, and you sit at a desk. And depending on your squadron and the rules in place, you might just be sitting there, like literally just sitting there. Luckily for me, I was watching Netflix and watching Hulu and watching, playing video games and had my laptop and watching stuff and studying photography. That's where I learned photography. That's where I started my YouTube channel, was on CQ. So it's definitely some time that you'll be sitting there, but it's basically the process of being reclassed. They'll look at your ASVAB scores. They'll see where else they're able to use you in terms of career fields in the military, jobs that you qualify for in terms of your MEPS qualifications and your ASVAB score. And you basically wait for new class dates if as long as you don't have behavior problems to go with school problems, because you can't have both. You have to pick a struggle. You can't be bad at behavior and bad at school. Like, what are you doing in the Air Force then? Take that stuff to a different branch. Like, no, you can't have two struggles. You get one, and barely that one. So just mindful of those type of things. But yeah, it's not a huge process. Like, it shouldn't take that long. It does take that long, unfortunately. But yeah, don't fail. Just get through it and cross train later. But yeah, that's my experience with failing my first Air Force AFSC. And I think I read your question wrong. What happened when you fail at tech school? If you fail at tech school, not just your AFSC, but if you fail at tech school, you're going home. You're going back to whence you came. You'll go back to the civilian. Tech school is the barrier to the operational Air Force. You need to be useful. You must be useful in the Air Force, which means they must train you first. They must invest into you, and then you go to Operation Air Force and do what you just learned. So if you fail at tech school, you're pretty much going home. So it's imperative that you don't fail. We got a super chat by Neo Life, a cheesing emoji, and of course, I'm beyond grateful. Thank you. Your generosity. Wow. We're definitely breaking records. This live stream has broken so many records. I think my last live stream, I think I had like 3 super chats, and maybe total to maybe $30 or so. But this one has reached new heights. I think we're at 120, 30, 50, $150. You guys are different. Thank you. For real. Thank you. What else we got? I think I lost where I was at. What else we got, people? Paulo asks, does it worth it to be enlisted till you retire? Is it worth it to be enlisted till you retire? I don't know. I haven't retired yet. I don't honestly know. But it's one of my goals. It's one of my goals to do so. Again, shout out to Neo Life becoming a new member. Again, I'm grateful. Appreciate you. And trust me, there will be some new content coming down for members only. And then, of course, I'll be creating new content for my Patreon. First link in the description. So just be mindful of those things. I don't do a lot of announcing when it comes to paywalls or when it comes to just extra benefits. But at some point, those things will be up and running. And so, if you so choose to partake, it will be available to you. Once again, my content's free. I actually enjoy doing live streams. I enjoy, answering questions. It's just part of my makeup. So you have a complex philosophical question, that gives my juices running. Like I enjoy that process of dismantling a difficult or complex question. into a simple step-by-step answer or whatever. But of course, I'm on YouTube to make money. Um, yeah, it's a money-making machine. YouTube is. So for those of you who do sow into my channel and sow into me and who do give, I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. It's not something you have to do. It's not something that, kindness is water flowing uphill. So when it does occur, I'm definitely surprised. I'm definitely grateful. So shout out to the Neo Life. What else we got? AFP PDMO asks, I told my ACL, but I might not need surgery, just rehab. Can I still qualify? I made a video on, I have this situation. Can I still get through MEPS, or can I still get into the Air Force? I don't know. I don't know. Your job is to try. Your first priority is to recover, to heal. Because last thing you need is to tear it again because you're rushing, trying to hurry up and get something. Anyone who's trying to hurry up and just bypass the process and trying to hurry up and, if I can just hurry up and just, I'm so focused on getting through basic training that I don't focus on the rehab. I don't give 100% effort to the rehab, that you skip or you miss, or you cut corners, and then you finally get to the milestone and you break down there. You just lost even more time because now you have to redo the rehab over. Again, back to your question, it's imperative that you focus on just the rehab, and then once you're done with the rehab and you've done it right, you didn't cut corners, you gave your effort to the rehab, then you say, all right, now let's go back to the Air Force. Let's try this again. Now, of course, you got to make money. You might have bills to pay. You might have a family to support. So, of course, I'm not minimizing that. Again, everyone has their path. Everyone has the path. You got responsibilities. You have to find a way to do that. I'm not sure. Of course, there's unemployment and there's disability and there's Social Security, all these different programs, which we are all grateful for. And I think a lot of us pay into already anyway. So, but yeah, in terms of qualifying for the Air Force, I don't know the answer. Don't know the answer. Part of me wants to become a recruiter so I can have that answer and just kind of having, greater insight into the qualifying process. But then there's still MEPS, and they have the final decision in terms of your medical records and whether or not you're actually healed, or did it heal wrong or what have you. So focus on rehab, and give that effort. And then once you're done with that, once you're actually fully functional again, then move on to the next stage, as far as, all right, now I can healthily move into this function and this process. So hope that helps. Oscar asks, is the Air Force a good path to become not a jet fighter pilot, but an airline pilot? From what I hear and from what I observe, it definitely is, as long as you're a pilot. And just kind of, as you kind of alluded to in regards to being a heavies pilot, you're going from a C-17 or a KC-10 or KC-35, whatever, and then going to a Boeing A330 or something. It's not much different. A lot of the airframes are the same. Like, I think it was Boeing 707 or something. Yeah, a lot of the airframes are the same. So the transition will be quite smooth because you're not learning a new aircraft. You're just learning variation of an aircraft. And you see a lot of, especially in the Guard and Reserve, you see a lot of Guard and Reserve pilots who fly full-time or part-time for these commercial airliners. And then they come back and they do a little time. They might be a chaplain full-time or something. Like this base had a chaplain that was here for 6 months, and he's a full-time pilot for Southwest. But he came here, did his time as a chaplain, left, goes back to his job. So you see it quite often. It does seem like a successful pipeline that, it kind of just, it's always available, and it's highly lucrative and necessary and needed. So if that's the path that you're looking into, I definitely suggest that you look into it, because I would definitely do it if I was I love driving. I love traveling. So being a pilot is definitely something that kind of dawned on me. I'm like, maybe I could have been a pilot. Maybe that was something I should have looked into, but nope, didn't happen. So moving on. What else we got? Alexander Saint, peace, brother. Appreciate your content listing later this year. Can we exchange contact info? Yeah, get in contact with me. Links in the description. Links in the description. Contact me. I typically use social media to converse when it's not actual direct question or business related. I do have business email that's for business only, but definitely hit me up in the email, or hit me on social media, or if you want to converse, book a session. All my links are in the description. So if you want to get in contact with me, that's how you would do it. What else we got? Shout out to Almighty Moreland. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, man. Philip says, I'm currently a truck driver and I don't like it. So I've been thinking about transitioning to the Air Force and I'm good with computers. Where would I be a good fit? So, yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of research that you need to do in regards to what the Air Force is, what the military is. Because that question kind of has built-in assumptions as if you would be able to just kind of choose something that you're a good fit for. The military decides that, and they don't really use what you think you would be a good fit for. They use what they need you to be a fit for. So it doesn't matter where you would fit; it's where they're going to put you that you're going to fit. If that makes sense, it's like your glass of water, and they're just going to pour you somewhere, and water adapts to their environment, and that's what they expect airmen and sailors and coasties and marines and soldiers. That's what they expect you to do, is just wherever we put you, adapt to it. That's what humans are best good at, or most good at, is adapting to their environment. So it sounds like you have a lot of research to do. I would suggest you look at this channel. This channel has a lot of content on it. I have a lot of playlists. You'll probably see at the end of at this video. I have a lot of playlists of just content. Air Force Library is just my Air Force content, and it'll tell you a lot about what you're signing up for in terms of if you're good at computers, you still may not get a computer job. You might be put in services where you're working in a gym or hotel. You might be thrown in finance. You drive trucks right now. You could be thrown into ground transportation, driving charter buses. It really just depends. There are I made a video on the 3 variables that determine what job you get in the military. Go check that video out. That will provide some context on how the actual job process works. And then from there, you can actually, look at jobs that you might be interested in. And then even that's not guaranteed. So just keep that in mind. Hope that helps. SD asks or says, hey, I'm already in, but I'm curious about working as finance in the Air Force. I just got reclassed to it. Not my choice, but I'm trying to see the positives. The positives are everywhere. Probably the number one positive is the ability to network. You're going to have everyone and their mama coming to see finance at some point. At some point, you will have to come talk to finance. Same thing with personnel. You can't be in the military and not go see personnel or finance at some point in your career, because we are typically we're the foundation. We're the money, and we're the personnel records to help and to assist humans that run the Air Force. The Air Force has the ability to network greatly because we have what everyone needs. We have everyone's money. From E1 to general, we have your money. So, of course, we have what you care most about in most cases, your money. And as long as it's in the right amount, you don't care. But the second a penny's missing, $200 missing, $1,000 missing, you come to see us. Well, what y'all missing on my travel voucher off, bro? On my pay $200, I got this debt, bro. Everybody that comes to finance is mad. Everybody that comes to see us is just angry about something, which is it's cool. It's justifiable. It's your money. Use that opportunity when you're in there, when you're in the office, someone comes to see you have an issue. Use that opportunity to network, to know them. Ask them questions while they're sitting in their chair and you're doing your work. Ask them questions about who they are, where they're from, their family, their experiences, their career field. Ask them questions. Another benefit will be the schedule. I talked about that earlier in the stream about how you have pretty much a very predictable work schedule, 7:30 to 4:30 in most cases, Monday through Friday, off on weekends, off on holidays. You're not mission essential. So, and you live a pretty normal schedule in terms of going from civilian to military. It's not going to be a major adjustment in terms of the amount of hours you're working. Take advantage of that. Travel, take leave, volunteer, things like that. But yeah, it's not the worst career field in the world. It's not the worst. I can think of several objectively bad career fields in the Air Force. Some people might disagree with me, but that's not for me to say. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, just got reclassed into it. So yeah, keep looking for positives. They are there. They are there. You're talking about a closed environment, such as the finance office, the personnel office, where you're gonna be with these people 8 to 12 hours a day. That's gonna be your family. It's not a huge squadron like security forces where it could be hundreds of people in this squadron. You're talking about 50 to 60 people in one office, 8 to 12 hours every single day, unless you're on leave. Get to know those people. Get to know those people. Those people are going to be part of your life now. So yeah, there's many positives to it. Invest. Learn your job. Learn your job. Get to know the people around you. Get to know people that come to see you and that you meet, and you'll realize that it's not bad. It's not bad. Hope that helps. Got a super chat, and once again, I'm amazed by the generosity taking place on this live stream. I'm beyond amazed. I think I already answered this one. I thought I saw another one. Nope, that's it. All right, cool. I was about to say, y'all going off. This is too much. What else we got? Keep losing my spot. Yeah, we're at 2 hours. We keep going. My energy is stable. So yeah, we'll keep going for a while. Try to get all these questions answered. Oh my God, why do I keep losing my spot? All right, here we go. Trey Johnson asks, why do you think younger people are more eager to enlist? I don't know. And of course, the assumption is that they are more eager to enlist than older recruits. But let's assume your assumption is true. The unknown, they have less fear. You know, the younger you are, the less fear you have. Fear is something that's ingrained in you over time. It's something that's taught. Fear is something you're taught. Danger is something that's experienced. It's something that's based in reality. Whereas fear is something that you see it, you observe it, and you say, all right, now I'm fearful because my parent, my protector, is fearful. So eagerness comes from just a lot of people rush to do something because they don't have all the context on it. So if there's any influence that something is cool, something is trending, something is popular, something might be, it might allow you to stunt properly. A lot of people will pursue something from a place of naivete. And a lot of young people just, you see it everywhere. You see it on TikTok and Instagram where a lot of people just have this energy to them where they're pursuing something and they don't know why they're pursuing it. They just want to. It's kind of like tattoos. Joining the military is like tattoos where you don't know what love, peace, hair grease, and whatever. They put it in different language and they get a whole sleeve of it of just stuff. Just stuff. And if I asked you why you got a tattoo on your entire arm, you might have some, vague reasoning. It's art. It's how I express myself. It's deep. It has sustenance and it speaks to me. Cool. But you'll notice that over time, it doesn't hold the same weight. Because a young mind compared to a mature or wise mind, experienced mind, vast different view of the world. Vastly different. They see the world a certain way. They see the world a different way. They don't match. So a lot of people come to the Air Force with this eagerness and the zeal to just kind of, I want to fly the planes. I want to shoot the bad guy. I want to serve my country. And they come with this energy that's not based in anything. Whereas you have an older recruit that know, all right, I need financial stability. I have to have financial stability to support my family. I don't have a choice. I'm not paying for education. I'm not going into debt for it. So this is free. I'll take it. What do I need to do that? Whereas someone coming from high school, they haven't paid bills ever. They haven't lived alone ever. They haven't left their town ever. So they say, bro, we'll pay you. All you gotta do is just do this one little job over here. And their eyes just bulge. I can get my own apartment, my own car, and I can live on myself. My parents can't tell me what to do. And they get excited. They get excited. There's different reasons for everybody. But yeah, that's my best attempt to address a question with a built-in assumption such as that. I got a super chat. Wow. So thank you, Tungi Anasi, for the prayer hands. You the color of my people. You color. I see you. I see you. Appreciate you. The generosity taking place is amazing. Amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for real. Thank you for real. It's unnecessary, but thank you. It's something about kindness that you can never be truly prepared for kindness. It's kind of like chaos. You can never truly be prepared for someone's kindness. Yeah, it's not normal. Kindness sometimes is just as shocking as hate because it's just not natural for someone to give to you for no reason. They might have reasoning, but as far as I know, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. What else we got? Every time I go look at the super chat, I lose my spot in the swamp of comments and what have you. I don't want to skip anybody. There we go. Goodwin asks or says, I'm in the debt program and I've reserved security forces, but I have not signed a contract yet. And now I want to wait for something I really want. Will they discharge me from debt? I would hesitate, or I will caution you on doing that. By reserving a job, now the assumption, this is what I'm gathering from your question, is that it was on your list. If security forces was on your list and you accepted it, keep it. Do not try to dance around with that, because if something's on your list and you get offered to you, you accept it. That's it. There's not a lot of wiggle room with that, unless something just comes up, emergency, or something comes up in your personal life and you really cannot leave right now. That's different. But your reasoning won't hold weight with a military recruiter. I want to wait for something I really want. This is the wrong career field to come for something you really want. It's the military. And this is why I try to stress what the military is. It's a volunteer institution, but once you're not coming here with leverage. The military does not need you. The military replaces you. And if they really needed you, they would draft you. That's what the military does. The government does. If they need your person to serve, they will draft you. But for right now, they're volunteer based. And so those of you who come here, you probably need something from the military. And as long as you need something from the military, they're going to say, all right, what you need is this right here. For that, we need you to do this, that, over there, go over there, be stationed over here, wear this, shave on this day, your haircut need to look this way, abide therein. So, will you be discharged from debt? I don't know the answer, but I will caution you about trying to find out how to get discharged from debt. This is one of those ways where you might end up finding out the line that you don't want to cross. Realize what the military is. Again, security forces, not a life sentence. The military is not a life sentence. Air Force is not a life sentence. The job you really want, it's not up to you at this point. The military, it's not up to you to choose what job you really want and then just go get it. Because if it was that simple, I would have done it. Trust me. If it was that simple, I would have I want to be a load master. I'm leaving finance. I'm leaving resource advisorship. And I'm going to go do load master stuff. Now, today, tomorrow. It's not that simple. It's never that simple. It's never that simple. So I will caution you on making moves like that. Be patient. Be patient. The job you want will most likely be available in cross training. Not guaranteed, but it's possible. It's also probable because there are systems at play and the work in the background that determine how much a job needs and how many personnel needs to be filled in certain positions. It's called manpower. So just mindful of those things. I would stand down, accept the job you have currently, cross train when you can, cross train. So hope that helps. Geek World Podcast asks, is it the best time to join the Air Force because there's no war? and COVID is the world's number one priority. Would you agree? I would not agree with that, at least with your presupposition. Um, you'll be correct in saying that there's no war, like CNN version or documentary version. There's no war going on. There's always prevention going on. Year round, around the clock, there's always prevention going on to prevent what you think is war. Um, and of course, COVID is what's trending right now, and vaccines and what have you. Oh yeah, I meant to talk about my vaccine experience. I got my vaccine last week. Yeah, I need to talk about that. So yeah, matter of fact, let me just throw it in real quick, real quick. Let me throw in a. So yeah, I got my vaccine. What day was it? Thursday. I got the Johnson & Johnson strain. It's a one shot dose. Most other vaccines are 2-shot dose. So you get the first one, you wait a couple weeks, then you get the second one. This one is just one shot, you're done. So I am considered vaccinated. Um, I got it, and I didn't let the doctors tell me the symptoms. I'm like, you know what? Do not tell me the symptoms of this thing, because I don't want to be looking for anything. I want the placebo effect trying to take place in the back of my mind. And like, all right, you might feel chilly, so maybe they were right. Maybe you do feel chilly. Maybe you do have a cold. Maybe you do have a fever. My mind takes off. So they didn't tell me any symptoms. I didn't Google any symptoms. I just let the shot do what it was going to do. And I wanted to experience it organically and authentically. Well, I did. I did. That night was rough. It happened after I got off work. I got off at 4:30 or so, came back to my room, just relaxing, watching TV. I was supposed to go back downstairs for some event. And I just laid down. I'm like, let me just lay down real quick. Just let me see something. I'll see what this pillow do. Let me just take a quick little nap. And I promise you, and everything I love, fell asleep, and I woke up cold, freezing cold, and I'm used to it because I normally sleep with my window open. So I'm used to waking up too cold, and I wake up, close the window, turn the heat on a little bit, and then go back to sleep. Well, I woke up freezing, teeth chattering, like just freezing. Windows closed. I'm like, the hell? Heat was on. I'm like, the hell, bruh? I'm losing it. So cold chills, just out of nowhere, freezing. My whole body just shivering. Headaches out just everywhere. Headaches. It was a whole thing for about 24 hours of just dealing with that thing. I'm drinking my Propel drinks, my Gatorade drinks. Just staying hydrated. Didn't really have an appetite, but just staying hydrated. Just trying to fight this thing. It was a whole ordeal. It wasn't overwhelming. Like, it wasn't like I felt like I was about to die. I didn't have like any crazy symptoms where I'm just like incapacitated and I just can't function. But it was enough that made me lose enough sleep with as little sleep as I already get. It was enough that made me realize, all right, let me take Friday off. So that's what I did. I took Friday off, took leave on Friday, and I just went to sleep, rested. And I come back now, rejuvenated, restful, strong, working out again. So yeah, the Johnson & Johnson shot. It was interesting, but thankfully I'm vaccinated now. Got the little card to prove it. And so now hopefully when I PCS, I'll be able to travel like normal, and people ask for my card, and if there's any stipulations regarding traveling or what have you, now I have a vaccination card, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Obviously everyone's different, and some people deal with things a little bit more turbulently than I did, but it's done. So yeah, just want to plug that real quick about the COVID shot and how I dealt with it and how I felt and how I experienced it. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. But back to your question. I think anytime that you want to join something or do something or begin something, the best time is when you want to do that thing. It's like now. So to answer your question, I do agree that the best time to do anything is now. Because there would never be a perfect time to do anything. There will be no time that everything is perfect, everything's peaceful, everything's calm, nothing's wrong. My money's perfect, my family's perfect, my health is perfect, my fitness is perfect. That time will probably never happen. The economy in the world, the president, everybody's acting right, everyone's doing what they got to do. That time will never come. So the time to do anything is now. Whenever you think of it, Do your research, plan, prepare, all that, but pursue it. Pursue it. Hope that helps. What else we got? Yeah, we're already over 2 hours, so yeah. If you have a question you really want to address, please throw in a super chat, and we'll address it immediately. But yeah, we're not even halfway. Scroll down, and y'all still in here. I'm trying to get to the stuff that I haven't asked. The question I'll be answering probably. Yeah, I'm try to. Oh my goodness! Shout out to Adaptina on Patreon for showing love. Yeah, the questions I'll be answering are the ones that I've never answered before, or I don't have a video on already on my channel. So we're trying to narrow down the volume down to quality of information. What else we got? Cook asks or says, certified AP mechanic here. How do I stop the circle of having to start over and relearn everything like my recruiter's telling me versus joining with my certificates and having a job in my field of study? I honestly do not know. I'm missing context on what process you're currently in. I honestly do not know. It sounds like you just need clarification from your recruiter. You need clarification on something. Clarification. Question. A question would be best posed to the person that you're struggling with. If you're struggling with the engagement or the process or the task, the goal set, whatever, ask the person that you're engaging with, your recruiter, or provide me with more context. But we'll move on for now. But yeah, if you have a clarifying question down below, I'll probably see it. But yeah, I will definitely address that with your recruiter. If you need clarification on something, ask them. And continue to ask them until you are clear on how you're going to proceed. So, hope that helps. You guys stand by 1 second. I have buzzing noise in my hallway, and it's because the windows are open and the pressure differential. 1 second. And we're back. It is snowing something awful. Something awful outside. Goodness gracious. I need to go move my car after I'm done with this because my car is parked somewhere that has no business being parked. But anyway, back to these questions. Where was I? You got Prescotti thinking about joining. Security Forces. I see you. Geek World 25 thinking about joining. I see you. Living for Temptation. I love that username. Air Guard here. 21 and just enlisted into Intel 1 and 0. Any insights or advice? Hope these Alaskan wins are treating you good, man. Loving these gems you're dropping us. Hey, appreciate you. Appreciate you living for temptation. I don't have any advice. Learn your job, ask questions, stay intrigued, stay interested. Intel is something interesting, but you know, it's Intel, so I don't know. I don't. Learn your job. Learn your job. Engage with people around you. Form relationships. Form relationships. Your guard. So yeah, try to get the best out of it. Try to get a location that you actually want to live. But yeah, no clue. No clue what Intel does. I do know Intel personnel here. There's only one here at Clear. Um, but yeah, best of luck. Best of luck. And yeah, Alaska is just a mess. I absolutely cannot stand the state. Anasi asks, do you have a video or resources on side hustles or businesses that have been successful, fruitful to do in active duty? I have ideas about real estate, but I'm concerned about transitions and time. I do not have a video on that. All I have is what I do. Real estate has been a long-term goal of mine, but it has a very steep barrier of entry in most cases. And so it's something I haven't pursued as of yet. I thought about pursuing Airbnb in the meantime, but no. Passive income is probably a little bit easier to address than to have properties and housing or living conditions that you have to address and be responsible for. Especially when you're military, you could be in a different state and have to be responsible for, even though you can hire a managing company or what have you. Either way, to answer your question, I do not. It's probably something again, this is several times I've been asked this question, so I'll probably have to make a video on it. But at some point, it'll be coming out. I'll probably put it on Patreon or I don't know. I don't like addressing money when I'm enlisted as hell. My money doesn't reflect someone who's successful with money. So I would like to address that from a place of experience and not theoretics, and that's someone who's actually trying. But eventually, I'll have to address it, and I will address it. So hope that helps. What else we got? James the God Brown, is it difficult to join airborne school? I was looking recently, although this is Army related, I was looking into parachute rigging. I figured if I was to join the forces, then do something I could. I do not know. I don't know the qualifications needed to enter airborne school. My boy was stationed at Fort Campbell when I was there, and he was airborne. I know you have to go through airborne school. I'm not sure what the qualifications are. So, again, that'll be a question for an Army recruiter or someone engaged with the Army. Mr. Algie asks, any advice for a 27-year-old with a criminal record trying to join the Air Force? Is there anything one can do to better my odds of being accepted or to show I'm not who I was in my teens? Honestly, it's a very good question. I don't think a lot of people shed light on things like this. And I'll also see your love. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I don't think a lot of people shed light on people who've made mistakes, who don't have the cleanest of slates in attempting to enter the military. This could be a very stressful process to be going through to attempt to join an environment such as the military, especially the Air Force, because the Air Force says no a lot. It's just simple as that. The Air Force likes to say no to a lot of things. And a lot of people that try to get in, they beat the hammer. This honestly, a lot of times what I observe, this comes down to personalities of the recruiter, of the person. Are they willing to help you? Are they willing to find a way? Or are they just going to give you a straight up answer, yes or no? Yes or no, in a lot of ways, can be accurate in terms of answering someone's question. Can I join? Yes. Can I join? No. The answer can be binary like that, but sometimes there's area that turns in, it's just exists in effort. It's simply effort based. And you have some recruiters that are willing to turn over backwards and jump over walls and climb trees to help you get in. And they'll get all these different waivers and get all these different leadership positions involved in your process to try to help you get in. And you still might get a no, but at least they tried, they pulled every string they had and in their repertoire. Really, it comes down to the recruiter. Also, it comes down to you as a person. Are you willing to try? Are you willing to meet the standards? Are you willing to express your interests and be honest up front and say, listen, I have a criminal record. I did this. I have these documentations that are on file. I have these in my possession. I want to give them over to you. Are you willing to communicate and show effort on your part? Hopefully, and if the stars align, you might reach a point where they both meet in the middle. You might find a recruiter who's willing to help you meet you halfway and say, I can get you the rest of the way. You showed me your effort. You did this. You met the requirements. There is no yes or no answer to your question, unfortunately. Is there a way to increase or better your odds? Not really. Outside of effort, and again, this is where it really comes down to wisdom. Effort. Effort is not quantifiable, but you know it when you see it. You know when you see it. Give your best effort. And if the Air Force doesn't work, try the Army. Army doesn't work, try the Marines. Try the Navy. Try. Trying, it's just that. There's no end date. There's no, all right, you tried enough. It's try until you're satisfied. So, yeah, we all make mistakes. You know, some of us just make criminal mistakes. Some of us make ethical mistakes or moral mistakes. We all make mistakes. So don't look down on yourself. You probably paid the price for it. You probably did the time, whatever. Try is my answer. Give effort. So hope that helps. Busty says, what up, Matt? It's good. I've been watching your videos, super inspirational. Appreciate you. What advice do you have for getting in the Space Force? I got a perfect score on the practice ASVAB. Real one is next week. Best advice for getting in the Space Force is to get a position that exists under the Space Force. Get an AFSC that falls under the Space Force, such as a radar operator. You see those all over the place. You can be A1C and be a radar operator. They work in a radar. Ask me what they do. I don't know. They look for things that are moving too fast at certain altitudes or different countries or different regions, different areas that that are under supervision. I don't know exactly what they do because they have top secret clearances. I don't know what they're doing. I shouldn't know what they're doing, but I know they work in radars. I know where they work. So try to get a job that is under and underneath that falls under the Space Force's supervision. Something to do with satellites, radars. Again, it will take some research on your part because I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I work on the Space Force base, but there are a handful of people that actually Space Force on this base. So I don't have a definite answer for you, but yeah, start with a job that falls under the Space Force. So I'm sure you can go to Air Force or the Space Force website and just look at the career fields that fall under that and then pursue those. Again, those jobs fall in the same category as any other job, meaning nothing is guaranteed. No job is guaranteed. So keep that in mind. Hope that helps. YouTube proposals are different. YouTube proposals are different. My answer is yes, only if you make more money than me. I accept. Yes, 1,000 times yes, only if you make more money than me. Because at the end of the day, marriage is a business decision, and we must not be emotional. But I appreciate your proposal. Neo life. What else we got? All right, so my AFSC, I'm in the Air Force. My AFSC is fine at 6F. 6F. What else we got? Billy Bombay says, what if I pass the basic training but don't do so well in the academic part? Do I go straight home? Well, the only way to pass basic training in the Air Force is to pass the end of course test. You can't pass over that test. So the assumption is that you've passed the ASVAB, you passed the end of course test and basic training. You passed 2 tests. So that shows you're capable of passing tests. Now, how you pass those tests, did you just kind of get lucky on both those tests? It's possible. Of course, the ASVAB is not completely pass or fail. That there's a limit that you can't go under in terms of low scores, but it's supposed to unlock jobs. It's not meant to tell you got a 70%. Like it's not an aptitude test like that. There's a chance that you might get lucky on both tests. That's what I'm trying to tell people to avoid doing, is trying to get lucky on these jobs so you can just kind of luck into the military. That's not sustainable. So again, it comes back to the first part, the first 50 minutes of the stream. Learn how you retain information. That's your job to do, is learn how you retain information. If you can't pass tech school, meaning all these series of tests, all these block tests that you got to pass, if you can't pass those tests, yes, you will go home. And everything before it will be a waste. You'll get paid, you'll get your check for every month that you're in. But for the most part, it's a waste. because it didn't result in you getting to the operational Air Force. Anything before operational Air Force is worthless unless it's attached, unless it's in conjunction with operational Air Force. So keep that in mind. Learn how you retain information. You should not be passing tests by chance. You should not be praying to get through tests. You should not be lucking into passing scores. Hope that helps. I don't know anything about parachute rigging. Oh, what else we got? I'm about to log off. I gotta go move my car. This. Scroll all the way down. Look like LL Cool J. I think that's a compliment. It's not a. He's a handsome individual. All right, what else we got? Just scroll down to the bottom. A lot of conversation. I love it. I love it. Conversate. Network. Here's a question by my future. I think I skipped some questions. This is a good question right here. 212 asks, I'm 20. I'm currently in debt. I don't know what to do with my time while I'm waiting. You should be preparing. You should be preparing. Preparing in every sense of the word, meaning you're addressing the chaos in your life. Your fitness, your finances, your health, your social life, your spirituality, your mental health. You should be preparing to transition. If you don't, you're going to notice what's out of order once you transition. When you get to a new environment, you're going to notice this was out of order. I did prepare for that. I didn't know about that. This hit me out of nowhere. This planned itself. Transition tells you whether or not you're stable. So that's what you should be doing. You should be staying out of trouble, staying off the radar. You should have zero interactions with cops. Zero. People that have a chance of having interactions with cops, if your friends think that drunk driving is a sport, if they think weed would, in whatever region, if they're dealing with illegal drugs from a military standpoint, which makes all of them illegal, you should be anywhere but that environment. You're preparing to transition to an environment that has more rules than anywhere else. We just have rules everywhere. Alaska, there's weed stores everywhere. DC, weeds, it just smells of weed everywhere. Marijuana, just all over the place. Well, you won't find me there. You won't find me there. That's your job. Preserve yourself. Get to basic training. Relax. Enjoy yourself. Spend time with friends, family. Eat good. Work out. Train. Stretch. Yoga classes. Spin classes. You should have a full schedule when you wake up in the morning. Fill it with Netflix. But you should have a schedule. You should not be surprised by what you do during the day. You should know what you're doing throughout the day, and it shouldn't be a surprise to you at all. So, prepare. You got time? Prepare. Hope that helps. Was good, Patrice, my bad. Miss Finley. Was good, 2K. NY Force Forever. Hello, 41 years old, E3 in the Air Force here. The life as an older airman is very difficult when meshing with younger coworkers. You're 100% right. 100% right. I would advise, especially 41 years old, E3. Yeah, you're definitely amongst very different generations, especially if you live in the dorms. God forbid, I hope they don't got you in the dorms. But if you are in the dorms, it's up to you to network again. When I spoke to the other person who got finance as a job, remember, networking it's a job. It's pursuit of other people. That's probably the simplest way to put it. Networking is the pursuit of other people and their interests and their behavior and their backgrounds and their events that's going on in their lives. So there are other 40-year-olds in the military. They might not be your same rank, but at some point the uniform's going to come off anyway. at some point. So meet those people. Go in pursuit of them. You see somebody looks like you, that you think you might have something in common with them, go talk to them. Yes, I'm telling you, get out your comfort zone, because meshing with someone who is 20 years younger than you might be very difficult. And I think it should be difficult in some ways. That a 40-year-old and a 20-year-old might not have the same experiences. First of all, one has 20 less years on the earth. You were 20 when they were born. So, of course, there's going to be differences in experiences and demographics and whatever. Cool. But there are other 40-year-olds in the military. So there's nothing wrong with getting to know someone and ignoring their rank and saying, hey, listen, I'm 40. You look like you're 40. Maybe we can hang out. Whatever. So don't be afraid of rejection. Sometimes you might have to ask someone else to hang with, come be your friend. It sounds elementary, but instead of trying to force things with 20-year-olds, maybe go in pursuit of other 40-year-olds or 35 years or 30 years old or whatever. But it's not supposed to be easy. You're crossing generational lines. So it will be a struggle. But again, first of all, not all 20-year-olds are naive and immature. There are some very mature 20-year-olds. So you might have something in common with someone. You just may not assume that they might be interested in hanging with you. Don't assume. Say yes. You get invited somewhere? Say yes. It may not be perfect. It may be boring. It may be just, why am I here? This sucks. I don't want to be here. But now you learn something. And then the next time you do something else. Who knows? But yeah, don't give up. Don't give up. What else we got? Christian Lopez says, 25 of my medical records are holding me back. Be patient. I'm not saying things will turn out the way you want them to. Be patient. Patience purifies. Patience reveals deception. Patience shows you and purifies your reasonings. Be patient. All right, we'll call it a night right here. 2 hours and 30 minutes. We've been here for a good minute. I thank you for everyone who watched, who joined me. I definitely enjoyed this live stream. But thank you again to all the super chatters. I'm grateful to all the new members, those who popped up on my Patreon. Thank you for the support. New content coming, trust me. Especially when I PCS, when I get settled in a new place, we'll definitely have some new content coming. Content that I'm not just changing what I'm talking about, but different people on the channel. In-person interviews and podcasting and conversations. Conversations are way easier to watch than having me just sit here and talk to y'all. So we'll have new faces on here, and it'll be interesting. But I will say what's good to y'all. Hang it up for the night, and y'all have a good one. Say what's good to your